Somewhere in the world right now, a case file sits unopened. A killer walks free. A family waits for answers that will never come. And a story, buried for years, decades, sometimes centuries, is waiting to be told. This is Faceless Coconut, where the darkest crimes in human history are pulled from the shadows and finally brought into the light. Every case is real. Every victim mattered. Every truth, no matter how disturbing, deserves to be spoken. So, turn off the lights and listen closely, because tonight we open the file. Northern California, late 1960s. The summer of love had ended. The peace and flower power of San Francisco had given way to something darker. And in that darkness, someone was hunting. The Zodiac killer's confirmed murders began on the night of December 20th, 1968. Two teenagers, David Faraday, 17, and Betty Lou Jensen, 16, were parked on a lover's lane outside Vallejo, California. They never drove home. Both were shot dead. No witnesses. No motive. No suspect. 7 months later, the killer struck again. Same city. Different couple. And this time, one of them survived. Then something unprecedented happened. The killer wrote to the newspapers. On August 1st, 1969, 3 letters arrived simultaneously at 3 different Bay Area newspapers. Each contained 1/3 of a 408 symbol encrypted cipher. The killer demanded the papers print the ciphers on their front pages, or he would go on a killing rampage. They printed them. Each letter began with the same chilling words. I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all. He signed it with a crosshair symbol, the sign of the Zodiac. The 408 cipher was cracked within a week by a schoolteacher and his wife. But the killer wasn't done. He sent more letters, more ciphers, more threats. One cipher, the infamous P40 cipher, remained unsolved for 51 years. It was finally cracked in December 2020 by a team of amateur codebreakers. What did it say? I hope you are having lots of fun trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise. He couldn't even spell paradise correctly. But he was still never caught. Over the following 2 years, the Zodiac struck at least 4 more times. July 4th, 1969. Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau were parked at Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo. A car pulled alongside them, stopped, then drove away, then came back. The driver opened fire. Darlene was killed. Michael survived, barely, and described the shooter as a heavy-set white male. Less than an hour later, the killer called the Vallejo police himself from a payphone to report the murders he had just committed. He said, "I want to report a double murder. Cold, calm, proud. September 27th, 1969, Lake Berryessa. 2 college students, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, were attacked by a man wearing a bizarre black hood with a white crosshair symbol sewn onto the chest. He tied them up, then stabbed them repeatedly. Cecilia died 2 days later. Brian survived. Before leaving, the Zodiac calmly walked to Brian's car door and wrote the dates of his previous attacks in marker, like keeping score. October 11th, 1969, San Francisco. Cab driver Paul Stein was shot in the head at point-blank range. The Zodiac walked away, carrying a piece of Paul's blood-soaked shirt. He later mailed it to the newspaper. As proof, as a trophy. Police received thousands of tips, investigated over 2,500 suspects. But one name kept rising to the top: Arthur Lee Allen. former schoolteacher and convicted sex offender from Vallejo. Heavyset, wore a Zodiac brand watch, spoke openly to friends about wanting to hunt people for sport. Investigators searched his home 3 times. They found disturbing materials, knives, bomb-making components, but no definitive proof. A survivor, Michael Mageau, identified Allen from a photo lineup in 1991, 20 years after the attack, saying, "That's the man, that's him." Allen died of a heart attack in 1992, before he could ever be charged. DNA found on the letters did not match Allen. Either he wasn't the Zodiac, or someone else licked the envelopes. Here is what keeps investigators awake at night. The Zodiac claimed 37 victims. Only 5 were ever confirmed. Where are the other 32? Were they ever found? Were their deaths attributed to something else? Are there families out there who never knew their loved one crossed paths with a serial killer? We don't know. And then there's the last confirmed letter, January 29th, 1974. The Zodiac wrote to the San Francisco Chronicle for the final time. He included a reference to the film The Exorcist. He said his score was now at 37. Then, silence. No more letters. No more ciphers. No more attacks. He simply stopped. Did he die? Did he move? Did he just decide he was done? Or is he still out there? An old man now, sitting somewhere quiet, remembering, knowing he won, and so the file closes. But the questions remain. Somewhere out there, the truth still exists, locked inside the memory of someone who has never spoken, buried beneath decades of silence, hidden in plain sight. Justice was never served. But here, in the Faceless coconut, the story is never forgotten. If this case stayed with you, it was meant to. Subscribe. Follow. Because next week, we open another file, another name, another truth, another darkness brought into the light. Until then, watch your back.